Well, g'day everybody. So this is a bit of a treat. No one knows about it yet because I can't find Marco, I can't find Chiara and all the rest of it. And I'm not sure even who's on board, but voila, we have translated. It's here in the marina and everything's doing safety inspections, sail repairs, all those sorts of issues, getting ready to go. The start is in about 20 hours time. So they're all busy, but it looks like they're going to make it. And I'm going to come on and give you a bit of a tour and see what I can show you without permission or anything. I'm just going to do it. So thank you, Marco, if you're watching. He's probably sitting in an office there trying to buy spare parts. Oh, they're going on my boat. But anyway, I'm going to steal the camera from Jane and just give it a go and see what happens because time is really of the essence here. And this is the one chance to do it or we won't get to do it. So just get over here. Okay, we've got the sailmaker. You probably all know about the situation with sails. You have to do all your sail repairs on board the boat. And so they've got a sailmaker here. He's brought the machine on board. G'day, to do the repairs, and that's all allowed under the rules. It's a bit of a restriction, but there is a philosophy that we don't want people to waste a lot of money with a lot of sails and throw them away and all that stuff. So they've got to sail sensibly. Anyway, the history of this boat. It's ADC Aquatrack, the first female skipper in the Whitbread race a long time ago, and completely rebuilt and renamed Translated 9. So it's got a Whitbread history. They're sailing in flyer class. Again, it's a Swan 65 ketch rig, and there's the typical Swan anchor rollers and so on. They're using piston hanks to save weight and keep the riding moment there. It's a lot faster. Diform wire, they're not using rod, and that's a lot of hard work because you've got to change all the sails manually. But it is the fastest way if you've got a fit, healthy crew and they can actually do it. So massive, things like this. I'm always blown away by it. I mentioned on a couple other boats, the size of these tow rail extrusions on a Swan is just huge. So they've taken the teak decks off in the refit, and they've got paint everywhere, non-skid. It feels pretty good actually. It's a good gear, yeah, it's not slipping at all. This is the second new mast for the boat. There's this whole story there. They fitted a new mast in Europe when they did the refit, but they had some problems with the rigidity of the section, and they knew that sailing to the start in the UK. So they actually got a special approval. So look, it's a safety issue as well as everything else. It wasn't about performance, and they ordered a new mast in Cape Town to be fitted in Cape Town, and we agreed to that without penalty. And so this is it. The same boom. I've got the same boom, but it's a whole new mast, and I forget. Could be Southern Spars, I forget whose mast this is, but quite massive. This is a big heavy boat, probably 25 tonne. No super sophisticated technology. That's the spinnaker pole arrangement, hoisting up and down, jammers on the mast, all the usual stuff. That's the beauty about we're not America's Cup. It's just good, solid, reliable engineering, and so far so good, touch wood. All Antel winches there, or Anderson winches rather, and rope bags on the side, big opening deck hatch there, get plenty of ventilation down below, and two Lalazas, Italian soulless life rafts there. Same story, you've got to have 200% capacity. The boom actually is quite small. That's smaller than on Explorer, okay? The dimensions of that boom is quite small. Ironically, there's Explorer over there. There's Millie, our youth crew from the UK. Yeah, if you look at our boom is a lot shorter, but it's massive proportions compared to this one. So a very interesting situation there, but all good. Massive spinnaker poles, and in fact this pole, they've got tapers on it. So if we look at the pole, the dimensions are pretty big. There's my hand there, and they've got tapered ends, so they've got a spline there and the taper, and they'll have a sleeve inside, and it's all riveted together and welded at the joint as well. So just makes it easy to handle on the other side. Some of the sails, they keep a lot of sails on deck, but in a big blow they'll get it down below. They stack sails as well, so if they're not using sails, they'll put them on the windward side. Depending on the leg, it adds a bit more righting moment, and all is well for performance, and they're performing extremely well, and I'll tell you a bit about that later. Solar panels on top of their dog box, and this one's a very slick one, but still it's a Swan dog box, and Swan owners, oh jeepers, they're horrible. But for this sort of voyage, they're fantastic. Lines and ropes everywhere. I'm not even going to try and attempt to explain all that, but all new Anderson winches, some big suckers down there. No big pedestal, it's all hand driven, typical winches. And there's something funny about the cockpit on Swans. These boats were always meant to go to sea. But you know, with they call them luxury comfort and everything, there's nowhere to sit and relax up there. You know, in the other bit, you've got to sit on deck. It's a funny one, but for sailing, it's perfect. So mizzen mast here again. That was the new original mizzen mast. Big main sheet travel over here. They've done a few modifications to the rig which were allowed under the rules. So, and one of them is that there is no triadic stay, and that's on the mizzen mast. That's a wire which goes from the top of the mizzen mast forward to the main mast to help stop it falling back. And they've got a big strut arrangement up there, so enough space to do it, so it's independent. So if you lose one mast, you're likely to hold the mizzen mast there, and you can then jury rig all sorts of things. So straightforward cockpit. You know, what do you talk about here? Nothing. They've got a Starlink. That's an approved Starlink on the pole at the back there. We've got controls on that, so we only turn it on once a week. We control when it comes on and off, and we know that it's only one-way data. You can't receive anything on this. It goes through our own sort of server arrangement. Stefan's our Starlink man. He controls that quite rigidly, and it's something that we'll be doing in the next Ocean Globe Race. In fact, they'll be mandatory, I'm sure. It'll be mandatory that everyone has a Starlink system, and we have our own router, which allows us to control the data coming in, and everyone will be able to do videos and photos, but it will still be restricted on the amount of materials that we allow through. Not a lot else I can tell you there. They've got their HF radio on that white whip aerial, which is pretty cool. It's independent of the backstays because it wasn't so easy to do that, to do a HF aerial with insulators on the backstays. There's two backstays for the main there, and you can see that block and tackle going athwartships there. That's how they tension the backstay to put a bit of curve, you know, forward going curve in the main mast. They tension up that block and tackle. It squeezes the two backstay twin backstays together, which shortens the distance, pulls the top of the mast back, and puts a banana bend going forward, which stops the mast from pumping, and it flattens the mainsail in heavy weather if you're going to windward. So it's another adjuster for that, which is kind of cool. Yeah, massive Anderson winches. Check that out. Cheapers. There's a bit of money there. It's very impressive. You won't be able to pick this on the thinger, but that's the biggest Anderson winch I've seen. And this is interesting. Look at that, electric winches. See that little switch there? So these big suckers are electric. We actually had that on Explorer as well. Here's Explorer again. We had, I think, about 5 electric winches, but we disabled them for this race. You're allowed to have them under the rules, but we figured it's cheating. Not really. It's too easy, and it's just another thing to go wrong. So we didn't want to worry about that. We disabled our electric winches, but it saves a lot of effort, especially if you're short-handed, because potentially Jane and I could take off on Explorer, but to do that we'd want to have electric winches to help along the way. Okay, so here's their cuddy. Pretty cool, not too bad. Not as good as Triana because there's no bunks in here, but you can shelter a couple of people in there. Very secure for seagoing issues. You can see there the companionway hatch isn't like normal, it's a normal deck hatch, so you can seal that up 100%. In fact, what's their ventilation system here? I'm not seeing a lot of cowl vents. In fact, there's none. That's interesting as well. Yep, I may have missed them, but I don't think there's any cowl vents, so I'm not sure where the air is coming in for the crew. Am I seeing? I'm not sure. Surely they've got one up there. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, it's good to keep the water out. That makes it very secure because in the 73 Whitbread, Swan 65, which was Sayula, the winner of the race. I'm trying to prop myself here to get down the hatch without stuffing up the camera. Hang on a minute. I'm a young fella, of course. I'm only 29. I used to be 28 up until last year, and I had a bit of an issue, so I decided I must have been 29. But I survived all that, and I'm still here, still having fun. One of the lucky guys, born in 55, so it's the best time of the year, best time of the history of the earth to be born. So I'm now in translated 9, and very impressive. Galley, all white, very Italian, very groovy, and very nice. Big 4-burner stove and oven, little stainless steel sink there. You can feel very secure coming into this galley, and you can strap yourself in. I'm completely enclosed. You've got a little spot there where you can pass stuff through to the crew. You've got your own little door. You can put a strap across that, stop yourself getting thrown out, and plenty of storage, pretty open, very nice. That's kind of cool. And here's Marco's second Weatherfax. They actually carried a spare Weatherfax. The first one failed. They had a spare, so they were able to do that. So a very simple, traditional chart table arrangement, and yeah, nothing new about that lot at all. They've got their, that's not a computer screen, that must be part of their radar and bits and pieces. They've got some wind instruments, HF radio down there, VHF radio up the top, weather facts, bits and pieces, but nothing super sophisticated. They've got a big telltale compass here in the in top of the chart table. Drawers down the side, very straightforward. Wow, very open saloon. That is insane. So there might be stuff missing here, I'm not sure, but that's a big way from port to starboard. So you've got a pipe cot, not a pipe cot, a pilot berth up the top there. There's one bunk, and then you've got another bunk here on the bottom. Looks like they're going to be hot bunking. And you've got a lot of engineering tools because they've just been rebuilding the gearbox on the engine, which is now working. They've done that. They had an engine gearbox problem sailing up from the Falklands, found a gearbox in Italy, found a very good engineer to go with it, and they've managed to secure that. So now it's just get the rest of it happening, get food and bits, and they've got about, what do we got? 2, so that's 22 hours to go to the start. So you're seeing something very interesting here. All the required navigation publications. You don't need any of that when you're on a normal racing boat. It's all electronic chart plotters, but on these you need all your pilots as part of the notice of race. So again, not a lot to talk about here. This is their machine gun here, I mean their guitar on the wall. Yeah, it's quite surprising. This is actually the first time I've ever been on the boat. I never got to get on board in the UK, and it's all very interesting indeed. Yeah, you get good access to the chain plates there, but another little cuddy. They had permission to take all the doors off, the covered locker doors, because this is a flyer class boat. It competed in the Whitbread, and that has some different rules on it compared to the production boats in Adventure and Sayula class, where you're not allowed to take doors off. You have to leave all the cabin doors on, the toilet door, leave all your locker doors on, things like that, because they're production boat class. So in here you've got 1, 2. This might be a bit dark, but you've got this is a typical Swan. 2 nice bunks there. Sometimes the bottom one was a double, but they're 2 single bunks there on the port side. And on the starboard side you've got pretty much the same thing. So you've got a top bunk, and then you've got another bunk down the bottom here, which is full of tools and bits and pieces. They're going to have quite a bit of work to sort and tidy, so we're very lucky to catch them with no one on the boat. So thanks again, Marco, if you're watching this, stuck in the office, part of their safety plan, stuck to the wall, so they all know where things are if the shit hits the fan, and they train for that anyway. There's quite a lot of training here to do that. Electric toilets, so that's pretty cool. Nothing super special about that. Yeah, you can see save weight. They've done all these little zippered parts. Big outlet there for the sink, and yeah, nothing at all. So, and this is the working end of the boat. Wow, it's pretty solid. So what do we got? Just sails and space. There's some winches up there, electric winches and stuff for the anchor winch, I think. Big crash bulkhead up forward. This is just sail bins and so on. More storage and bins. Yeah, all stuff all over the place. Original Swan floorboards. We took ours out to keep them pristine and put all new plywood ones in with normal deck tread, EVA foam deck tread on it. So, and we'll put all our good ones back when we go cruising. Yes, yes. So, okay, so that's just storage. I've run out of things to talk about there. So, very interesting to be on the boat. They're all, every one of them slightly different. So, I'm going to go down. Jane's just in the aft cabin right now, but I'm going to head down there. What's in there? That's the mast there. I'm going to head down here. I'm assuming there's nothing private that we're going to see. So if there is, sorry Marco and Isabel. Marco's not sailing this leg. Isabel, his wife, is sailing. She's got some great stories as well. She's reporting on to, she runs her own business. They're all involved with translation and systems and AI interpretation and human interpretation of translations as well. So there's a view of the hatch from down below when you're down here. It's only just that, like typical deck hatch, so very super secure if anything goes wrong and you get dumped. So there's some plates there. That might be, I can't read them. Anyway, there's a Swan build plate there. You can see the hull number and so on, 1974. I've got my glasses, 65, and it's 00, I can't see the number. Anyway, I'm a bit blind. Okay, wow, big open space back here for the aft cabin, and it's got a bit of a double bunk over there. It's a double, and you're getting great access to the steering gear. This is where the action was happening with the cracks. One of the serious cracks was all down in here. It's all been rebuilt, it's all past survey. The insurers wanted to know what's happening. You can see all the, wow, what great access to the steering gear there. So they can keep a real eye on that. I'm just starting to think, geez, these guys have got a lot to do before they leave, because there's nothing on the boat right now. I'm not seeing any food, any personal kit, you know, like it's going to be really something to get underway in time. They have finished cleaning by the look of it. There's a lot of dust and bits down here, but this would normally be a very luxurious cabin for the owner and his mistress, girlfriend, wife, whatever, boyfriend, you know, whatever. So, and over this side again, look at all that weight they save by taking off the locker doors. That's probably why they're winning. And got another head there, all fiberglass. That's really cool. So you can actually use the shower if you wanted to. So again, not a lot I can tell you now. You've got a big Goyo porthole here. You could talk to the helmsman if you had to. But the huge contrast, we've done a run through on Tapio's boat, Galliana with Secure, and the difference you'll see is massive. I mean, their aft cabin would be 1/6 the size of this aft cabin. It's pretty big. I don't know whether you can get a perception of that, but it's a very big space. And where's all the gear? Where's all the food? Where's all the stuff? This is going to be an interesting story. They're going to work on all night, I reckon. And at least they got good weather. Once they get out of the bay, there's a big following breeze, and they'll get that for a few days, so they can keep working, packing, storing, things like that. Okay, I think we've probably seen enough of this one now. What have we been going? 16 minutes. You're probably getting bored already. Go back to TV. What's the time? It's 4 o'clock. 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 o'clock in Europe. So there might be a few people watching. So, all right, that's it. Oh, there's the barograph. I knew it'd be somewhere. So probably another Fisher barograph, I'm not sure. Integral to the interpretation of all weather, and all very cool. All right, that's McMurdo Sart. That's an EPIRB in there, in a float-free case as well. So, okay, coming out through the, let's see, it will be easier coming out than it was coming in. So there's a view down the back at the companionway access and the cockpit steering. Yep, that's, I think, covers everything. Very well built, this boat, no doubt about that. They've got quite a slick job with this little cuddy, but I've got to say I still prefer Triana's cuddy cabin. It's glamour, and the 53 lends itself to that really well. The 53's got different layouts as well. That's so common to a few of the boats, and a few of the designs. The 51, Swan 51, one version of that is ideal for the Ocean Globe race. It's got 3 twin cabins, one where the galley normally is, and the galley's in the saloon, and that's a glamour. Find one of them. You want to do the Ocean Globe race? It's not going to be the fastest boat in the world. You won't get as much party time, but it's a classic boat. 10 people on a 51 footer. So you're all going to have a lot of fun and get into it. I'm just on the hunt here for ventilation. I just want to see what's here, and I'm not seeing anything at all. That's amazing. Whew. In the Golden Globe race, the sailors all take the ventilators off, and I'm always amazed at that, because you can always seal them up if you're not using them, but I'm not seeing anything. So here's the sewing machine. This isn't staying on board. This is just the local sailmaker down here to sort out the sails, and that's about it. And look at that, jeepers. Look, Jane, look at this. Look. That's amazing. What an incredible boat. Have you seen that? Jeepers. If only. You know, I've never even sailed on Explorer. It's just crazy. But Mark is doing a great job, and we'll go through. In fact, we might hit Explorer right as we speak in a minute and do a walkthrough, but I'm not going to do it live because it gets a bit boring after a while. But it's a beautiful boat, Swan 57. We're sailing with 9 crew on this one. One of our crew bailed out, but we've got Rianne over, a mate of ours from Cape Town. We had 2 bail out actually. One swapped to another boat, and she's going to have a ball, and another decided not to join us at the last minute for personal reasons. So one of our replacements didn't show, and so we're sailing with 9, which will be 2 watches of 4, and Mark will float. But yeah, beautiful boat, love it. Never sailed on it though. Anyway, looks good. Okay, I think I will shut this down and say goodbye. See you soon, and thank you for Jane and everyone else that's doing that. Oh, some other big news. Here's big news. Guess who's doing the live tomorrow at the start? We've got a guest appearance by Aida. So Aida and I are going to be doing the lives from the from the group shot up by the Yacht Club Punta Leste, and then down here on the dock when all the boats are leaving, and then out on the water. But you don't want to know about out on the water. I'll see if I can show you. You probably won't be able to see this, but there's a 2-metre sea coming into the bay, and it's going to get worse. You probably can't see it, but it's going to be very rocking and rolling for the rib. It's quite substantial. It's going to be blowing 15 to 25, but it's going to be very challenging. So Ada might be having second thoughts about that. But anyway, it'd be good to have her back, and we look forward to